Hey guys, before I get to the video, I just want to say thank you for watching and please like and subscribe. I really like doing these and I like to do a lot more. Hey guys, Ryan from Let Me Be Critic here with a new TV review for you. This is for the first season of Lil Dicky's new comedy, Dave.
How exactly would you describe your brand?
Imagine like what 2090 is like, but it's being described by someone who's from 1920.
Okay. Like this?
Dave is a semi-autobiographical TV show, co-written, created, and starring Dave Bird, aka Lil Dicky, who I've been a fan of for a few years now. I knew about him for a while, but I really kind of honed in on his music about 2 to 3 years ago. And I was really looking forward to the show when it was originally announced, but I was kind of hesitant because it's a very similar story and plot to another show on FX/Hulu called Atlanta, starring Donald Glover, who is another person I'm a huge fan of. So I was like, oh, he's doing a show that's kind of like Atlanta, that's about his life. It's on the same channel as Atlanta. So I was like a little on the fence about it. I was really excited. And then I kind of, when I saw the trailers and stuff, I was like, oh, this might just be Atlanta. And I wanted it to be more than that. So I finally watched it, and I watched every episode in a day. I think the show is fantastic. I'm such a big fan of this show now. I am surprised and very happy to say that this is a very different show than Atlanta. Although these are both shows about people trying to make it in the hip-hop industry, they're two completely different spectrums. The biggest would be, of course, race. Lil Dicky is about being a white Jewish rapper going into the hip-hop world. So that alone is very different. Donald Glover's character is actually not a rapper on Atlanta. He is the manager to a rapper, to Paperboy. That has a completely different dynamic than Lil Dicky and his friends. And then the comedy is similar, but I would say that Atlanta is actually a little more satirical and a little more out there, which is fine. I love it. But it's supposed to be that Atlanta is heightened, and the city itself is a character in that show. Being that it's in LA, it makes it a very different show. It's a vastly different show. I can see people that like Atlanta not liking Dave, and people that like Dave not liking Atlanta. It's very similar to Parks and Rec and The Office, of how they are very similar when you look at them from a base value, but when you really go into them, they are vastly different shows. I think one of the things Lil Dicky did to really make his show a step above was the fact that he got Jeff Schaffer, who was a director and a writer for both Curb Your Enthusiasm and Seinfeld, to work as a co-creator and a writer on Dave, which I think really helped Lil Dicky hone in on his comedy and hone in on what makes him funny to an audience and what would make a show about him so interesting.
This show's called Dave. That's like my name. My name's on the line. How could I not oversee every single little detail?
I would honestly say that this show feels like Curb Your Enthusiasm for the hip-hop world, which is something that I never knew that I wanted or needed in my life until right now. It feels very similar in the way that Lil Dicky's character of Dave, I'm trying to separate them to make them seem different, but his character on the show feels very similar to Larry David, where he's a narcissist, kind of a social assassin in certain ways. It makes him a very entertaining character. Not likable at all times. I would say that he did a great job of making himself very unlikable at times. But you like him so much that you want to continue to watch him and you want to see him succeed. I also think that the cast of characters around Dave is fantastic. Andrew Santino as his best friend and roommate, I think gives a fantastic performance. I was a fan of his from I'm Dying Up Here, which was a show on Showtime, and I'm really happy to see him move on to this show, and I think he is really great on this. Taco Burnett from Odd Future plays his friend Els, who makes his music, and I think he's a really funny character. Christine Coe as Emma, I think, is a really standout character as well. And I think Taylor Misiak as Allie, his girlfriend, is one of the strongest female characters in a show like this. If Taylor Misiak seems familiar to Lil Dicky fans, it is because she is actually the girl in the Pillow Talking music video. Obviously, they had chemistry already going in since they've already made videos together. I think that the chemistry between Allie and Dave is really evident on screen. They're very funny, they're extremely real, and a lot of the dialogue just screams of realism. I know a lot of people that talk and sound like this, as ridiculous and nuts as everything they say and do in the show is.
We're closing in on Friday for John Levin's memorial.
Oh. That's the kid that died. Yeah, very terrible. Cops have no leads at all?
He wasn't murdered. Dave.
I think Allie is a fantastic character, and the things they do with the character as the show goes only makes me more intrigued to see what they do with her in season 2. The biggest standout of the cast, I would say by far, is Gata as himself. Gata as Gata. He is Lil Dicky's real-life hype man and one of his closest friends.
There's a lot of non-actors, like Gata's never acted before.
Gata speaks in his own music, and there's nothing I would even try to write. And each take is different, and each take is a masterpiece.
But what I'm saying is there's way too many chemicals on these shelves for my natural dreadlocks. But you look like a Head and Shoulders type of dude.
In the show, they introduce him in the first episode. They show how they meet, and their relationship completely evolves over the 10 episodes. I love Gata. I think his acting is fantastic. The way that he compliments Lil Dicky, and all of the cast, they all have fantastic chemistry because most of them have known each other for a long time, so obviously that works really well. It makes you feel like these are real friends, and you want to continue to watch because you want to see what happens to all of these characters. One of the things I think this show does really well is that episodes focus on different characters. It's not just focused on Dave, which is something that I think Atlanta did really well, was that they did episodes on kind of every character, so you felt invested into all of the characters and not just the lead, which is something that a lot of shows lack in. I also think this show has a lot of heart. They cover a lot of subject matters that shows would only dare to cover. This show touched me personally for a lot of different reasons. I love the fact that Lil Dicky really put himself out there and really showed who he is. And there's a lot of stuff in the show that I thought was some of the most fantastic writing I've ever seen. And the fact that this is the first show he's ever done. He's never done a movie before. This is it. This is the first thing. And it blew my mind. There's a couple of scenes that are complete standouts. Like there's a scene where he confronts his past self, himself as a kid. He has to get rid of the past in order to move on to the future. And the way that they cover that in that whole episode is brilliant. And the way they cover his relationship and the way the relationship grows throughout the show. This show has fantastic continuity. You cannot watch episode 10 without having seen the previous 9 because you will be completely confused. This is not a jump-in show. You really need to pay attention and watch as things continue on. And I think it really brings up for repeat viewing. Every episode has tons of cameos and he introduces other characters that are people that he knows throughout his life. And they are all very funny. They're all written really well. Dave's parents, which are played by 2 character actors, are standouts in every scene they're in.
How come we never talk about the 15 million views that I've gotten in 3 months, Mom?
But why can't you profit off those views?
I can't profit off of it because it's not my beat. It's just a beat I stole online.
You stole it? Wait a minute, what?
I was really surprised at how funny I thought they were. And they're not in every episode. They're only in a handful of episodes. But I look forward to them. And I want to see more stuff about them. I would like an episode just geared around his parents in the same way that he has episodes geared around his friends for season 2. That's something I would absolutely adore seeing. The music in this is actually some of Lil Dicky's best work, I would say.
In some ways, the music is integral because the character is playing an aspiring rapper. So we'll see him in the studio. We'll see him interacting with other rappers. We'll see him in terms of the season series arc, you know, having aspirations for his career. The music is an element, but I would say music is just one character.
I hate talking in the third person like this, but it's, you know, Dave. And that's kind of what the show is about. It's like the guy who's making all the decisions that go into a rapper's career.
His freestyles in the show are great. A lot of them are greatest hits of some of his best freestyles, but don't get me wrong, they feel extremely fresh and the way he does it is completely new. And I don't know if there's a soundtrack album for this show yet, but I can't wait for one every season. There's certain songs, they show up in the show and then they show up at the end of the episode and they have new meaning due to what happened in the events of the show. One happens in particular in episode 9. The song is what opens the episode. The episode opens with him making this song and they play the song again at the end of the episode. It has complete different meaning, completely changed, and it could make you cry. I could see people getting very emotional at this scene in particular. I think that is a testament to Lil Dicky's writing because not many people could do that where they could have the music tie in so well with each episode. And he does that continually throughout the season.
As a man, I kind of prescribe to societal rules, but maybe like as a rapper, I'm more inclined to be absurd. I think the rapper is a nice person too, but I just think Lil Dicky's a little more reckless.
Overall, I can't recommend Dave more highly. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. I could understand why people wouldn't like it. Of course, this is just my opinion. It's subjective. Comedy is subjective. But I haven't laughed this hard at a show in I don't know how long. There's gut-busting jokes in every episode. Some of the subject matters that they cover, I would not expect to be covered by a show on FX. It feels like Curb Your Enthusiasm, but with hip-hop. I would love to see a crossover one day with both Curb Your Enthusiasm, and this one is probably a lot easier because they're on the same channel, with Atlanta. Because although I think Atlanta is a more heightened show, I could fully see them fitting in the exact same world, and just that is Atlanta in this world, and that's how Atlanta is in this world, and that's how LA is. And I could see them doing a hip-hop shared universe of shows. Let's get another show out there. Let me know in the comments, guys, what show you would like to see after Dave and Atlanta to be a trilogy of hip-hop shows, hip-hop comedies. If this is going to be a new genre, I would love it, because I'm a big fan of both of these shows, honestly. I give Dave a 9.5 out of 10. Alright, guys, that's my review. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Please make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time for another video.